we thought they were. And that's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
No better way to come back than to the John Fredericks Media Network on day 2 of the bus tour than with the late, great Dennis Green, one of my favorite coaches in football history. I love this guy.
Did he pass?
Yeah, he passed. And he was my favorite coach. I was standing there. I know exactly where I was. Exactly where I was. I was in Syracuse, New York, at a hotel. And I had my friends had gone to the casino. I was working at the time for one of the Newhouse companies on their digital end, and they all went to the casino. And I stayed and watched the game at the bar, and I bet Arizona plus like 6.5 at a 21-3 lead at the half. And I'm like counting my money, and then of course the Bears come back and
that's always good to count your
they
money
throw
early.
a bunch of interceptions, and I watched Green in the presser, and I just thought
You
that
saw
was
that live.
I saw that live. I was standing there.
That's fantastic.
Watching Dennis Green. That's why I play the clip all the time, and I'll never forget that. And he said, "Well, you might as well crown their ass." we let him off the hook. I mean, it was a classic rant of all time. And coaches get pissed when they lose games.
I love a good rant.
They had them up 21-3, and they had the ball to start the second half. Like, you can't lose the game getting 6.5. So how I remember this stuff, Chris, I have no idea.
I have no idea.
How I remember
You
all
pull
these
out
nuances.
these anecdotes, and I'm just stunned. I can't remember what I had for lunch
I
yesterday.
remember all
You
this
pull
stuff
out
from
this
years
stuff.
ago.
For lunch
Too
yesterday.
much, but I tell you what, I used to smoke pack and a half a day American Spirit Blue, Larry. American Spirit Blue, it's what I smoked. Larry bought me a pack actually the other day.
Ugh.
It's right in there. I haven't opened it. I did stare at it though after the Super Bowl. I thought about it,
Don't do that.
but I didn't open it
Don't do that.
because I finally quit. And the reason I quit was because of vaping was an alternative. And, you know, President Trump made a promise to save the flavored vaping industry. The stakes are huge right now. I got so many small businesses we talk about are in the vaping business. They popped up all over the place. And look, the Biden administration tried to kill vaping, kill flavored vapes. Why? Because they were in the pocket of who? Big tobacco cancer stickers, right? With all the money in the lobbyists and their, $10,000 Armani suits and their $20,000 Rolex watches roaming around the Capitol. These people are gross. They say, oh, smoking is bad for you, but then they spend all this money trying to stamp out vape, which basically is the bridge to quitting smoking, like I did in the Biden administration. They were just taking the money from big tobacco. So President Trump, keep your promise, save American lives and small businesses by protecting access to flavored vapes. Big tobacco cares more about their own market share and bottom line than they do about saving American lives. This message paid for by the Vapor Technology Association. Okay, we've got Alfredo Ortiz backstage. Let's bring him in, and we've got Anthony in Florida, Rant-O-Mania. Anthony, we're fired up today. Iowa tour day bus 2. Chris, what was your line again about America here?
Excited about America.
I mean, you come out here, Iowans are excited about America.
I'm excited about America when I come out here.
Exactly. It just makes you excited about your country that you don't get inside the DMV.
Well, the Beltway bubble is, it just forces you down this negative path. You come out here and you're like, people don't talk and live, eat, and breathe politics. They're political. Iowa's a very political state, but it's not what they do all the time, every single day, every single minute, like in Virginia and D.C. So you get this perspective. It's a perspective shift, frankly, John. And we get to see the beauty of the land, the people, how good things truly are in America, and it's reinvigorating.
And eat catfish and meatloaf. Let's get to Anthony, and then we got Alfredo Ortiz coming up with Todd Sheets. Anthony, Florida, we know you're mad about something. Roll.
Good morning, John, Mr. Saxman. Thank you, Mr. Saxman, for understanding that we, the American people, need to come first. And I applaud you for recognizing that yesterday and today. And I remember way back when me, and John and Ox, had this conversation, and it was like, well, you're never going to get the files. Well, guess what? The American people demanded it, and we got some of it, and we want more. And the thing about that is, like, we're a republic, and everything is based on, okay, you want the Americans' trust. Everything has to be above, open, and above board, and that means liberty and justice for all, and a representative republic, not a democracy, a republic. And that means is the rich guy goes to jail just like the poor guy.
Yeah.
And I don't care whose names are in it. Read, and that's why I support. If they're not gonna they were supposed to give those files up unredacted. This is our side redacting those files. So now Congress should get up there, because they have immunity, to read those names out loud. Justice be done, may the heavens fall. Read those names out loud.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems.
I want justice, and that is how you repair the damage. And I'm afraid that Trump has lost the initiative, because now the Democrats are out saying, "Whoa, it's mostly Trump," and I'm like, who is advising? Can we get John Fredericks and Saxman in there to advise the president correctly? Dude, please, could you seize the initiative, because the Democrats are recovering, and now it's all about Trump. The GOP never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity, and that is why the Zoomers or our side is disgusting with this side.
They're pissed. I mean, whenever anybody in my younger son's Zoomer MAGA sphere talks to me, and it's mainly the ball players from Maryland or West Virginia, wherever I know them from, and I talk to them a lot just to get their pulse. Number one issue, Epstein files, accountability. It's all they care about. Number one issue, and it's all about the elites and getting preferential treatment and getting it covered up, and they want them held accountable. And so you're right. And until we figure this out, the Zoomer vote, which was ours, is now slipping away, and it's all over the Epstein files and the lack of accountability that goes with it, Anthony. So on that, you're right, and we will let you go. Thank you for the call. Let's bring in Alfredo Ortiz. He's the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network. Go to joinjcn.com. Joinjcn.com. We got Todd Cheese. We got Chris Saxman. We're on the Iowa bus tour, day 2 in Clive, Iowa. Just a little bit outside of Des Moines here. Tomorrow, Sioux City. Thursday, Mason City. Friday, Des Moines. So looking forward to get a lot of Iowans on. Don't forget to go to our poll and vote in that. Just go to johnfredericksradioshow.com and vote in our First in the Nation straw poll. Alfredo, great news on the economy. Great news for small businesses. They're starting to see some expansion now. Give us a rundown on your take, small businesses in the new Trump economy now.
Yeah, absolutely, John. And first of all, I love the bus. Brings back memories of us riding around all over the country. It is amazing the insights you can get when you actually leave that bubble there. So good for you. But yeah, the Trump economy. I mean, it's actually booming. I mean, things are going great. The tariff recession, which everybody cried was going to happen, didn't really happen. The dust is settling from all the tariffs. The uncertainty is, kind of going away. So businesses love certainty, and I think we're getting there. And in the end, I think people are feeling better. They're going to start seeing those nice big tax refunds, like Trump said. Trump RX, by the way, I mean, that is going to be a great opportunity for the average American to actually save money and avoid those middlemen, the PBMs, as they call them, pharmacy benefit managers, which was just literally a multi-billion-dollar industry created out of Obamacare, of middlemen. So, you've got savings of 33 to 93%, I believe, on about 43 different drugs. From weight loss drugs to other types of drugs. I mean, this is a really game changer, and we got to keep on going. Though, obviously, as you know, healthcare costs still keep rising thanks to Obamacare, and we got to make sure that we bring those down, because for small businesses, the the average employer-sponsored healthcare cost is about $27,000 now per year, and it's just crazy, and we can't keep affording that. But overall, things are going great. I mean, we got 4 or 5% GDP growth expected this coming quarter, and I think this is going to keep on going, and we're going to have a great stock market. I predicted 50,000 stock market back in October by the end of 2025, and I was off by a month, but I'll take it.
So how's this going to affect the midterms now? So the last time we had you on, you were not optimistic. Either was I. But in politics, 9 months is a lifetime. Look how things change in 2 weeks, right? So what do you think now?
Well, I think we still have some challenges. We got to make sure, if the Republican Party can actually keep selling the win. It seems to forget that sometimes just getting the win isn't enough. You actually got to sell the win. Something that Democrats do extremely well. They never stop, right? After the win, they keep on selling, and we just kind of, take our pennies and walk away, and we go do our normal running the business, right? But we got to keep on selling the win to the American public, and remind them that it's because of the actions that Trump had taken during the first year in 2025 that we're having the great economy that we're having right now. But again, we just seem to forget that. We get distracted by shutdowns and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I still think that there's a big distraction, which is a big fumble, I call it, by the Republican Party on the deportations. I think it's still a 70+% issue in terms of border security. Nobody likes seeing the sausage being made, right? The sausage making process here and the border enforcement techniques, which are playing out on TV. People don't want to see that, and so I think unfortunately all the good that's coming from that is being lost.
I agree with that. I mean, it's people want Trump says he's got elected on closing the borders. He's done that. Sealing the borders. He's done that. And deporting 20 million illegals that came here under Biden. That's how he won a landslide. You ask people in a poll, they want the 20 million out. I asked that question to Caroline Levitt last week at the White House. She said, yes, we're still committed to getting them out 100%. But then you don't want to see us getting them out. I mean, because it's a difficult process, and and it makes people feel icky and queasy, and they're trying to get a day's work at the Home Depot, and you're locking them up, and you got the little baby in the bunny hat, and it's so sad, and it's not right. But then they want them out, but then they don't want to see how they get out. I mean, that's just basically it, Chris.
Well, yeah. When we talked about yesterday, you have to, and with the messaging for the Trump administration has been off because they have lumped all these people together in these large quantities versus saying that person did X and that's why he's gone.
Right.
That's why this person's did X and that's why he's gone. And you go run down the list, and don't. So what the problem is? They're throwing this wide net over a bunch of people that we don't really see, and we don't feel. So when something goes awry, we look at that and go, well, that's a problem. You shouldn't do that. Right. That's overstepping the bounds. And the visuals and the optics here are being lost on the reality is bad people are not being taken off the streets, out of the country. And then it's going to take enough to get those people in line and out that most people want out of this country. And then you're going to have to deal with something with the people who are here, who are, frankly, participating and would be good citizens eventually. And you have to have a very long glide path for that. But deal with the bad actors, deal with them singularly, and put them on public and say, that if you can do it with the Epstein files, my God, do it to people who are doing these horrible things and committing these crimes and murder and rapes and everything else that they're doing wrong. Put those guys on television and say, that guy, he's gone for this reason. I mean,
the one thing where I think there's a big opportunity for the Republican Party, and there's still plenty of room to do this, John, on a comms from a communication standpoint, right, is embed an actual communications person with each one of these raids, right? Embed a comms person that actually is the face of the raids, basically, and walks through and gets in front of the CNN cameras and MSNBC and all that, and literally list out at the point of interaction where this is all happening and it's going down, the big bad hombres that are actually being pulled out, right? Because doing it from the White House press briefing room a day or two later, that's an eternity. So it's got to be done right there, and we're missing that opportunity.
Yeah.
I think look, the whole messaging around it has been horrible. I think though the body cams, as Lewandowski pointed out, is going to even the playing field, because now you're going to see exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it, and you're going to see what they're up against, right? Because nobody really saw this play out until the protests in Minnesota started, because ICE just went about and did their jobs, and that was it. Now, obviously, it's playing out in a big way. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Amy in Delaware, the DMV. Amy, you're live. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have two topics I want to bring up. One, on the Epstein files, instead of bothering with Maxwell, who made this committee look like a joke, why didn't they bring in Alan Dershowitz? He's the one person who, because he represented Epstein, could be able to name names. And he went back to the family to get out of the NDA he had, so he couldn't discuss the case. Why don't they bring him up? Because he'll be able to name names, name places.
Todd?
On the farmers,
Wait. One question at a time. Remember, if you ask two questions, you only get the answer to the second question. That's 100% fact in our business. You only get the second answer. Let's go to Todd. So Amy says, why not bring Alan Dershowitz in? We all want to put these Epstein files to bed and behind us and get the accountability. We don't, and it doesn't matter what they put out. It isn't enough.
It's not going away ever.
I think one thing is, as we've talked about, the administration has made some mistakes along the way, and one of them is the way that this was handled. And I think if we had gone through what's happening right now at the very beginning, instead of having all this delayed for 6 or 9 months and then feeling like it's getting forced out there, this environment would be very different. There's another possibility here, which many people I think don't want to admit because it doesn't feel accurate, but it may be accurate. And that is that there just aren't these big smoking guns that are going to take people down where you have proof of illegal conduct within the files. So many people have said, like, if that was there, then, we've had a couple of different administrations sitting on these files that chose not to go after anybody, both Democrat and Republican. There is a possibility there that as misplaced or off as it feels to Americans, that the reality is that there isn't incriminating evidence sitting within those files. So, I think we're just going to have to see how all this plays out. The files are going to get out there. People will go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Congress will call the people that, they think they need to try and get the light on all of this kind of stuff. And I think we've got to just let that happen and see where it takes everything right now. And we all have to remember as well, look, as guilty as many of these people seem by association, in this country, and correctly so, they're innocent until there's proof that they were guilty of committing the crimes that many people.
It's like somebody texted me earlier and said, Steve Bannon's been mentioning the Epstein files more than anybody else. Okay, but from what I saw, it was creepy, and I don't know why he was trying to help this scumbag, but he didn't do anything illegal. Trying to help somebody's image politically is not illegal. I mean, maybe he was paid for it. I don't know, but it's not illegal. So it's icky, it's creepy. You don't like it. It's like ew, but it's not illegal. So I think to your point, you're right. Amy's second question, what is it? Amy, you there?
We've gotten any pushback from farmers regarding tariffs that, I got this nice payment, but I didn't lose a contract for wheat or soy or whatever for this year. The European country I was dealing with went and signed 3-year contracts, 5-year contracts with growers in Colombia, Ecuador, Mexico. So I'm going to go under. I can't go for 3 years, 5 years without these contracts. Have you seen any of that? And the other issue that farmers have is they insist on foreign labor. Some here on special, on those agricultural temporary visas, and others who are here illegally.
Well, look, let's go backwards, right? Because you love asking two questions at once, so I'm going to try to unpack this. So labor, that's the first issue, okay? And we'll get to Alfredo here. Cheap foreign labor of people that come here legally, guess what? It's illegal. You can't hire them. We have a law in this country that you cannot hire and pay illegals without the proper documentation. That is illegal. So if the farmers are doing that, they're breaking the law. That's just simple. If you don't like the law, change it, right? Simple. That's number one. Number two is we've got plenty of legal visa programs to get temporary farm workers in during harvest season and then get them paid and then get them out. I mean, that is a legal system that we have. So to say, well, I've been cheating, this is what this is. I've been cheating the system for years and gotten away with it. And now you don't want me to cheat the system anymore and I'm screwed. Well, you built your farm on cheating the system and breaking the law. So now you got to figure it out like any business does. That's number one. That is such an insane argument. I know where you're coming from, but it's an insane argument. Okay. Now the other argument is tariffs. Look, maybe by the end of Friday we'll start hearing about it. We talk to farmers. Nobody's brought it up. Every farmer I've talked to, what about the tariffs? Hey, they're great. That means they got to buy from me. I got to grow it here in order to buy. They can't dump it in from Argentina, dump the soybeans in from China. They got to buy it from me. So I'm yet to hear any pushback on tariffs here. I've heard the opposite. But it's only Tuesday morning, so it might go on. But I'm going to get Alfredo involved in, right? People want cheap labor. I get it. But if you've been hiring illegals to do your farming and now you can't hire them and now you have to follow the law, I don't even know where that argument is, Alfredo.
Well, I mean, John, it's a tough one, right? Because as the caller, a small business owner, obviously hurting, and obviously we're sympathetic to that hurt. And but to your point, laws are the laws, and what we need to figure out is there a solution that can address both sides. And I think that's the challenge here, because I think there's a little bit of an impasse. Neither side really wants to give on that, and so that's the probably $10 billion question here is how do we get there? Because I think, again, we've said this before, if you basically take 20 million folks out of the economy and just send them out, I will tell you, I'm not terribly, I'm not a genius, but I can tell you that it's probably going to hurt the economy.
Okay, well, but they're here illegally, and so we have this law called E-Verify that has gone by the wayside, right, that nobody pays attention to. Right. So they just do, whether it's a chicken manufacturer, Tyson's Foods in Eastern Shore, or somewhere else. They just hire in Mississippi. They just hire these illegals that have come here illegally, and then pay them under the table, pay no taxes. Yep. Well, you can't do that. I mean, you're violating IRS law. You're violating labor law.
And that's what I'm saying. There's got to be a solution, right? Because it's not only the agricultural industry, it's the housing industry, it's the hospitality industry.
Temporary visas, work visas.
And that's the thing, right? We do have programs.
You get them in, you get them out.
In place. Yeah, we do have programs in place. They're not necessarily, I think, as adaptive as they need to be for the situation that's at hand. Work authorizations, temporary work authorizations are something that I think could be evaluated and done, with the 20 million that are here, because not all those 20 million are are necessarily violent criminals. A lot of these folks are folks who are working for a living.
That's irrelevant. Now you're going back to the Democrats' argument. That is irrelevant. They're here illegally. They broke the law. Say, well, they're nice people and they're, doing this job or that labor job that nobody else wants to do.
John, I'll tell you this much. As an economist, if I took out 20 million laborers out of this country and swapped them in for union labor, first of all, good luck ever having another Republican voted into office. Secondly, you're going to be looking at inflation that's at 20%. If that's what you want, and if that's what you're advocating, go for it, John.
No, I'm for getting the illegals out. That's what Trump ran on.
You can't have one without the other. You can't have one. This is a black and white issue. So which one are you advocating for?
You're undermanned as it is. If you focus on the people who are committing crimes in the streets today, you bring down crime straight away. There's enough work to be done there for a couple years, because all that Joe Biden did was open up the doorway and
remember, President Trump promised we're going to get the big bad hombres out. That was his biggest.
Then he signed the amnesty bill, and he said we're going to close the border, and that's going to be the end of it. And we got another 40 million in since then.
This brings
That's
up
nonsense.
This brings up the whole question of single object rule and dealing with people who are here. How are you going to deal with them realistically over time and make sure that the people integrate and assimilate into our culture?
You guys are preaching the nonsense of amnesty once again.
No, we're not.
Trying to tell me it's going to hurt the economy.
No, I'm not saying
that's not what people voted for. 20 million people.
I didn't say anything about the economy. Did I?
John,
no.
What I said was
the reality
we only have but so many people to deal with so many people who are here. So if you're going to do this realistically in organized fashion that the American people accept, you have to go after the people who are committing the most heinous crimes and go down the list.
He's doing that.
But they're not saying
you
that.
You guys are saying, well, you can't get the illegals out because it's going to hurt the economy. Well, they're breaking the law and the lawbreakers.
No, you get the ones who are hurting the economy by committing crimes.
You guys are getting soft on me.
I'm not getting soft.
Yes,
we're realistic.
Soft.
Yeah, no. John, hold on.
You're getting
realistic. Let's be realistic here.
Look,
I'm going to tell you this much.
Go ahead.
Okay, you've got a community, mostly Hispanics, that are part of that illegal population. There's also a lot of other Somalis and you name it, right? Chinese and Russians, right, and all that other stuff, but primarily Hispanic, right? But in the end, that community right now is saying, "Whoa, we are being targeted." That's the reality, whether it's real or not. That is their perception. And last I checked, 46% of the Hispanic community of voters voted for Trump for president because he was going to close the borders, tighten border security. They wanted that. The enforcement techniques, they're not signing up for that. And come in November, you can go ahead and die on your sword, right, and win this battle. But in the end, I don't want to have President Trump spend his last 2 years of his presidency being impeached.
That's a false choice. That is a false choice. That's the amnesty argument.
Those are your choices.
I've been getting
the
same amnesty argument you guys have been giving me for 50 friggin' years. It's the same thing. Oh, we need him. The economy will crash. We won't get the Hispanic vote.
You know what? I am tired of using amnesty as your escape word.
Because that's what it is.
It's not.
Yeah, well, sure it is.
No, it's not.
If you don't get them out, it's amnesty.
Alternative solutions.
Get them out. That's the alternative, because that's why Trump won in a landslide. Get them out. It's ugly, but they came here legally. How about the people?
John, I hope you enjoyed the last 2 years of covering impeachments. At the last 2 years.
That's a false choice.
No,
let's
it's not.